Okay, this exercise is the single leg Romanian deadlift. So it's an exercise that you traditionally do with a barbell, dumbbell or kettlebell. You can also do it with a club as well. There's a little bit of a spin I like to put on a single leg Romanian deadlift, and it's something I learned from the Mike Boyle, which is a strength and conditioning coach over in the US. And that's just to internally rotate that leg, which is going to be elevated off the floor. What that does is, if you take the single leg Romanian deadlift, the usual way people do this is they open up their hips, they externally rotate that leg, and really they're not emphasizing and they're not focusing on that standing leg. Okay, so if we really want to isolate the hamstrings on this standing leg, we have to internally rotate that foot, which stops us from opening up the hips. It keeps our hips closed. So if I'm standing on my left leg, I'm going to internally rotate this right leg and then drive that leg back, and I'm going to tip the body forward by driving the leg back, and that's going to drive me over into that horizontal position. Again, we don't want to externally rotate that toe, otherwise we're just going to open up the hips and we're not going to be isolating our standing leg. So when we're doing this, we're going to internally rotate and then drive that leg backwards, go back as far as you can, keeping good technique. What you'll find is when you're internally rotating that toe, you won't get as far a range of motion as you would do if you're opening up the hips, which is fine because we're really isolating the leg. I'm going to get a lot more from the exercise doing it this way. We can use this exercise with the clubs, and there's a couple of different ways I like to do it. We can either have the clubs standing or holding in the side position, internally rotate that toe, drive that leg back, okay? Or we can have them on the shoulders, in a shoulder park position, add a little bit of weight in there, so the further or the higher up that weight is, the harder it is. We're getting more weight onto those shoulders, which is placing much more load on the hamstrings. Or I find the most challenging is the order position, just because we need to control and stabilise those weights independently of each other. And we can also do that exercise with the order position. So just have a play with this one. I just thought I'd put it in. Just fantastic exercise for working those hamstrings as well, and it's something you can put into your flow workouts and workouts. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few reps now to show you what that looks like. So internally rotate, get as low as you can, stabilise those clubs, sit and drive that foot forward coming up. Internally rotate, drive that leg back, get as low as you can, drive that toe forward. And you're really working the upper body here as well. So it's a good core exercise. It's a good shoulder exercise, good grip exercise, as well as hitting the lower body as well. So it adds another element into the normal single leg deadlift.